So yeah, start whenever.
Cool. Okay, so let's see. Last summer, my girlfriend and I rented a cabin in the woods of Acadia National Park here in Mount Desert Island, and it was in a place called Hall Quarry, and which isn't very developed. You know, there are dirt roads and stuff leading right out into the woods, pretty deep into the woods, and that's where we were. And it was fine. Like, we lived there the whole summer, but it was within like a month and a half that weird stuff started happening. You know, we just started hearing weird sounds in the woods, and we didn't really think anything of it at first. We were just like, oh, we've never heard that before. Wonder what it is. Like, maybe a Fisher cat or something. And one night we were hanging out and we had watched a movie. We were both completely sober. We went to bed and I was reading, and it was like, I don't remember what time it was. It's pretty late though. It was after 10:30, maybe around midnight. And my girlfriend was asleep, and so I was just sitting in bed reading, and I heard this really weird sound, unlike anything that I had heard before. It was kind of like a whooping sound. It was like a yip, like that. And I was like, what the hell is that? And I was like looking around outside. I just got really scared for some reason. I don't know why, but I just freaked out a little bit, and inwardly it just seemed off.
Just a feeling.
Yeah, like, you know, sometimes you get goosebumps and you feel like your nostrils just clear and you're in tune, like, you know something is going on, but you don't know what it is.
Right, yeah.
I got that whole sensation overwhelmingly, like, just going through me that moment. So I just stayed really quiet, and I listened, and I heard this sound, slightly different, come from the other side of my house, and it was about 40 feet into the woods or so, as if another creature or something was answering that one's call. And everything was silent a moment, and then the one on the far side of my house answered the original one. It answered back, and you could tell both of them sounded sort of different, but they were trying to make similar calls.
Right.
And it did not sound like a human at all. It was just a very different intonation, and it was a powerful voice.
Was there anything that you could compare it to that it sounded like any animal or anything?
No.
Really?
No, actually. Really. No, I've lived in Maine my whole life. I've hunted with my friends. I've heard a lot of different animal calls, and I've never heard that before.
Wow.
Except one time, but I'll get into that afterward. So I woke my girlfriend up, and I said, honey, like, you gotta hear this. This is really weird. And it sounded like the sounds were getting closer. Like, they were signaling each other, like, oh, the lights are off, they're in bed, they're asleep. I had this tiny nightlight on my book, so my girlfriend wouldn't wake up.
Right.
And they were getting closer to the house, and my girlfriend heard it and got super freaked out as well. Like, the whole her eyes widened. She's like, what the fuck is that? You know? And I was like, I don't know. I have no idea what that is. And we almost called the police because we felt like they were going to come into the house. Like, they were intruders and they were going to break in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was really freaky. But I turned the light on in my bedroom, and the sound stopped. And I didn't hear him again all night long. So I was like, okay, that was strange, whatever.
Yeah.
Moved on. And then my girlfriend had to go to New York because her grandfather was sick, so she was there for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And this is the freakiest story. I had heard the sounds before. A couple of my friends had as well throughout the summer. But the freakiest thing that happened was about, like, I don't know, pretty late, like 10:30, 11. I was watching a movie. Again, I was completely sober, and I was just sitting in the living room of the cabin, and the cabin had, like, I mean, the ceiling was like 20 feet high, cathedral ceilings, and all along the front of the house and the porch were really tall windows, like very tall windows, so you could see everything outside if it was daytime. But if it was nighttime and all the lights are on in the cabin, all you see are your reflection. Is your reflection in the windows. So that was what was going on. I was watching the movie, and I heard something huge jump onto my porch there, where the windows led, and there's also a door there. It was massive, like the whole house shook a little bit.
Right.
And that's what jolted me up. And I took my headphones off, I looked outside, and I heard something very large and very heavy walking around the porch. And instantly that feeling came back. And
Right,
this
right.
time, though, it felt like I was being watched. So I looked outside, I paused my movie, I looked outside, and I was just scared, super scared. And I saw my reflection, and I was really even more terrified because all I saw was me and the inside of the house reflected by the light.
Right,
And
right.
I could not see what was outside, but I did see this distinct, very, very tall, large black shape that was like lumbering around and looking at me. I could just tell it was looking at me. I had the goosebumps. I was
Right,
like,
yep.
this thing is watching me right now. And it stood above the top frame of the tall window there, which was about 6.5 feet tall off the porch. And the porch itself was about almost 6 feet off the ground.
Right.
So whatever the hell it was, it had some hops to it. Like that thing jumped onto the porch.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's pretty crazy in itself. Maybe a bear could have done that.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it was pretty tall.
I was gonna say I wouldn't think a bear would have jumped like
Me
that.
either. It would have crawled. It would have climbed
Yeah.
up the porch. So there was this weird like standoff for a couple minutes where I just did not move. I was frozen to my seat, and I was looking at this thing and this black shape moving around. I could tell it was right there and it was looking at me. And I thought, I don't know what to do. Like if I move, maybe this thing will break into this house, which I knew it was capable of,
Right.
and kill me or something. So I slowly put my laptop off my lap and I walked over to the kitchen, keeping my eye on the thing the whole time, and I grabbed the biggest knife that I could find and held it down by my side, not threateningly, and I took out my cell phone and I pretended to call the police. And I was like, hi, yeah, this is what's going on. There's an intruder.
Yep.
I don't think the thing really registered.
Right, well, just in case it was a person.
Yeah, just in case it was a very large man.
Right.
So it did not move. It stayed there. And so I went upstairs into my room. And it's all like open space, so I go up these stairs and I'm in this loft bedroom. And I texted my girlfriend immediately and I told her, hey, that thing, whatever it is, I think it's here right now. It's watching me. And I'm freaked out. So I'm wondering if I should call the police. And so she started texting me back, and I hear the thing lumbering around a little bit more, walking around the porch as if just inspecting, trying to get a look at me. And then I heard it vault off the porch, and that was the last. Yeah, it jumped off the porch, like could feel the reverberation in the house. And then it left. I didn't hear anything again for a couple weeks. We were only there a few more weeks, and then we moved out, and we had the opportunity to move there again. But we said, hell no, like there's no way. And the reason was because of this thing. And then I heard, this is the caveat though, the very last bit of the story is that I heard on this movie, I think it was the latest Missing 411 movie.
Oh, the newest one? Yeah.
Yeah, something about hunters.
The Hunted, yeah.
The Hunted. And I heard the Sierra sounds. And the calls and the Sierra sounds are almost identical to the weird whooping sounds that I heard that first night when they were around my house.
Really? Wow.
So, I mean, that's my story. It's not very long and nothing really happened other than that. It's the only time something like that ever happened in my life. But I'll never go back to that place.
Really?
Whatever it was looking, it was very curious. I don't know if it was dangerous. It could have been for sure. Like it was very powerful, but I just don't know what its intentions were. And I thought maybe I got the vibe that it thought I was the one who was away on a trip, and my girlfriend was home alone and was trying to peek in on her for whatever reason. I just had that feeling. I don't know why.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I do have a couple questions to ask you, if that's okay.
Of course.
How do people react when you tell them about this, or if you have?
Yeah, well, I don't really tell people often. I have told a few people, and they think that it's freaky and scary, and they typically believe me because they know that I'm not somebody who lies.
Right.
They're close to me.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them was a fanatic, like a Bigfoot fanatic, who I told the story to. And he knew right away what I was talking about when I mentioned the Sierra sounds.
Mm.
And he wanted to come with me to that place to like camp out for the night this summer, but I said I didn't want to.
Right.
Said I don't want to get kidnapped or anything by some giant beast.
Yeah, that's fair. How did your girlfriend handle this?
She was very scared. I have to take a lot of business trips usually in the summer. Yeah. I go like, I don't know, I'm probably gone like a month out of the summer, just like going around the country, sometimes to Europe. And she didn't want me to go anymore. She straight up asked me if I could just stay, not go on any trips for the rest of the summer until we had moved out of that place.
Wow.
And I did go on one, and she mentioned hearing the sounds, and she was really scared. And I asked a friend to go, like, be with her if it continued, but it didn't. It stopped. And then I didn't go on any more trips for the rest of the summer, so I could just be there and make sure she was okay.
Right.
But she was terrified.
Yeah, I can imagine. What was the time frame of events, like just like months and year?
Okay, sure. So this was 2018 in the summer. We moved in around mid-May.
Right.
And didn't hear anything at all for 2 months. So until about mid-July, around mid-July, is when we first heard the two things outside our cabin.
Right, yeah.
And then steadily it would disappear for like 2 weeks, and then we'd hear the sounds again. It'd disappear for another couple weeks, we'd hear the sounds. And when the big event happened, it was like, I think late August.
Mm-hmm.
Then we moved out early October.
Right, yeah. And that was of 2018.
Yep.
Wow. All right, and I just have a couple more questions. They kind of go together. Did you have an interest in the subject of Sasquatch at all before these events occurred?
Yeah, I did a bit, like because the one person who was, I told you, kind of a fanatic, is always talking about it. He's a friend of mine. So I had done the research, and I'm fascinated by the missing 411 phenomena, although I can't ascribe that to Sasquatch or whatever, but I am certainly fascinated by these strange, almost paranormal cases of missing people.
Oh yeah, especially like hunters and kids that just go off the map too.
Exactly. Although I'm a very logical person,
right,
and therefore, while I am maybe a little biased because I have researched that material, I didn't think that was the case, and I don't not think it was the case. I just look at it objectively.
Right, yeah.
As best that I can.
Let's see, that's really the best way to look at it. Anyways. And do you have more of an interest in the subject of Sasquatch and things like that now that those events have happened to you?
Yes, I do.
Do you ever do any like investigations or anything?
I don't. No. But I mean, it has changed me in some way because since that happened and I've looked more into missing 411.
Right.
I'm a bit leery of doing the Appalachian Trail. Like that was a dream of mine my whole childhood, and now I'm like, I don't know if I want to stay out there in the woods.
Right.
There's some things out there that we don't understand.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's it. Unless you've got any other closing words.
That's all I got so far, and if I think of something though, I'll let you know.
Totally. Yeah. Well, yeah. This will all remain anonymous. And
thanks.
Yeah, no problem. I really appreciate you sharing this with me.
Of course, yeah. And if I think of anything, I'll let you know. And please let me know when this comes out, and I'll check out your podcast.
Of course, yeah. Thank you.
All right, man. Well, have a great day, Nate, and let me know if you need anything else from me, okay?
Thank you, I will.